saying? I just want to know this, and you can move on. But are you saying that your bankroll has a chastity belt? That's what you're saying.
I don't follow the analogy.
Yeah, yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do. You just don't want to say anything.
Fully prepared, the devil he speaks, yeah. And this what he said, you gotta get paid. Do what you gotta do, get to the bag. Stay at your 9 to 5, get on the avenue. You ain't cut out for them tags, yeah. You are not good enough.
Singer, but I've been singing this song for the past 3 weeks, so I'm gonna share it with you. And it goes like, Mika's going to London, Sean's stuck in the studio, Brett slept with his best friend's mom. What you gonna do? And it
All the way on him, yeah. One time, I'm going for mine. You put it on mine. You better believe they're looking for me.
Jay, leaderboards are these things where they track the points when you do really well in tournaments and you win trophies and stuff, and they rank you at the top. Just
all right,
now
I'm in the know. Thanks.
Yeah. It's okay. I didn't know either.
Yeah, you didn't know?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, I gotta go, and this I go. I'm dying a legend, it's just so you know. Yeah, I'ma go get it. We just keep pushing the limit. I am like all the way with it.
You told her you're a poker player?
Yeah, she knows. I mean, she watches the real. She has my TikTok now and everything. Well, she doesn't know I'm a losing poker player. That's the key. She doesn't know I'm bordering break even.
Right.
Magic how I disappear. Level up, get out of here. Watch how I'm moving, they taking a spill. But I do not fuck with you, making that clear. Yeah. Finally, all the way good.
This is important. How old are you?
Older than you.
Older.
Are you older than me?
This feels like a prop bet.
Right.
Ooh. Close.
I think it's probably
Close.
Come on, it's just a number. How old are you?
I'm 53.
Okay.
I'm 53.
I take the over on that.
You can take the over, but first of all, Grandpa, I look younger than you.
That's true.
I'm in better shape with one arm.
Also true.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm going for mine. You put it on mine. You better believe they're looking for me.
I could see Brett right now in the cash room. He gets 4 betted by a female at the table, and then she turns over a bluff like deuce 3 off, and then he goes, "Hey, here's my number.
Yeah.
You can call me. I'm available."
This how it go. I'm dying to let you just like no. Yeah. I'm going for mine. Going for mine. You put it on me. You put it on me. You better believe. You better believe. You better believe they're looking for me. Yeah. I'm going for mine. You put it on mine. You better believe they're looking for me. I'm going for mine. You put it on mine. Believe they're looking for me. Yeah. I'm going for mine. You put it on mine. You better believe they're looking for me. I'm going for mine. You put it on mine. You better believe they're looking for me.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Chase the Dream podcast, episode number 4. We're cruising along here, having an exciting 2025, and I'm joined by several of my friends and a very special guest tonight joining us, the infamous, the one and only, the legend that is all things rec poker, Jim Reid over here joining us tonight. Buddy, how are you doing?
Hey, man, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me on the show. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely. We're glad to join you and have you be a part of the crew here. And just to kind of officially initiate you, Jim, I don't know if you officially know this, but Jay has a little thing here where he's got a little sign in the background that he changes each week based on the show. And he's got something he wants to ask you tonight.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Give me a minute. I got trying to take a bite. Yeah. So Jim, sorry, man, you caught me in the middle of dinner, but I just want to know: is peanut butter and jelly a sandwich?
It's the sandwich, Jay. Peanut butter and jelly is the sandwich. It's the sandwich that all other sandwiches are imitating and trying to be like. It's the big brother of all the sandwiches. That's PB&J right there.
Got it, man. It's a good dinner.
You look happy. I know I'm happy when I'm like face deep in some PB&J. I know that's Nirvana right there.
The run good is incoming. So.
Yeah, that's right. It's it exactly. Although I gotta say, you gotta switch to grape jelly for the run good. I used to be a strawberry jam guy, but then I switched to grape jelly and I made 60 grand with that sandwich. So I'm like, okay, it's grape jelly all the way now. It's the only way.
Oh,
great.
Jeez.
Right.
Nice.
Grape jelly's
I want a piece of your next tournament, Jay, because you're gonna run like this.
All the action you want.
Get in line, Jim. Get in line.
Talk to my bookie.
So, Jim, because we've got listeners in every continent, including Antarctica now.
Amazing.
For those that might not know about Rec Poker, why don't you just kind of tell a little bit about what the community is and what you do there?
Yeah, well, thanks, Rob. I mean, so Rec Poker started as a podcast for recreational poker players 7 or 8 years ago. It doesn't feel like it's been that long, but it has. And now we're like an international poker learning community. We've got almost 2,000 members all around the world. I don't know if we've got Antarctica covered yet, but most of the others. And we've got a website with just like a ton of resources for recreational poker players, just a bunch of free videos and forums, podcasts, training videos from some of the best training sites in the world. We travel around to each other's home games. We do road trips. We have a free Play Money home game club online. We give away a bunch of prizes. We do coaching. It's just like everything about the recreational poker world. We just want to make it as fun as freaking possible. That's the idea over here at Rec Poker.
Yeah, very cool. And we just got back from a Rec Poker weekend. It was my first opportunity to experience this. We were up at the Running Aces horse track and casino in Columbus.
Rob?
What?
You left your basement?
I left my basement. Yes.
You left your bathtub. Wait, you got out of the bathtub?
Oh wow, yeah. They didn't even have a tub. It was touch and go there. When I told them we might not have a tub available in the room, he's like, I gotta think about this one.
Oh my God.
Think about this one.
I'm proud of you, Rob. I'm proud of you for getting out of your comfort zone and your bathtub.
You're growing, dude. You're growing.
And I can attest, he was there. He was there in person, and he had a freaking fantastic time with memory. So you did pretty well for yourself too, Rob.
I did. I ran really good. Final tabled the first tournament, final tabled the second tournament, final tabled the third tournament. Took second in the third one, so we kind of saved the best for last. Rob. And then that Saturday after we had a little fun leaderboard competition that was done. Jim's like, hey, I don't need a ride to the airport. And I'm like, cool. See ya.
Yep.
Like 7:30 that night. I'm like, I'm packing up and getting home. Didn't realize I was going to be driving through a blizzard on the way home. So,
you had to get home because the bath water was still running.
It's still warm. But no, it was a really fun time. We had a blast there. I did well. Jim, you bagged like back-to-back $900 and $1,700 cash sessions.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, I do like the cash tables. It was great, but it's a great group. Is really what it comes down to. I was glad, Rob, you got to meet a lot of the Rec Poker OGs in person, and we got to spend some FaceTime together, and yeah, just having a great time on the felt, and nice to come home with heavy pockets.
The next one in theory is in August, so you guys want to keep that calendar a little bit open.
Yeah,
same place.
Oh yeah, that
because that was the thing. I was like, I thought about going, and I had stuff I had to be back for money. I was like, I can't go to Minneapolis and risk getting stuck in like mountains of snow and not getting back. But maybe August.
August.
I think you'll be safe in August.
That's my birthday month, so I don't know. Birthday run good.
Birthday run good.
Yeah.
Tempting.
I like it. So who else has had a big weekend? Jay, you're coming off of some multiple FTs here, right?
For real?
Me, this guy. Yeah, man. 2 weeks in a row. We got a little bit of money. I don't know about a ton. But yeah, we played the main. We min cashed the main. It was
the main of what?
The main of the TCH Trailblazer Tour, the one that I had the final table for the 400K. I played the main of that. couldn't pass that up. First was like 210K. We did have a min cash.
I told you the field was going to be tougher, Jay.
I don't worry about it. The tougher, the better, Craig. The tougher, the better. But I did stick to my promise of once we were done with that, this was going to be the month of the online grind. So first night in, we had a final table. We shipped that. We got first in that one. And then last night, the trophy eluded me. I got fourth in a grizzly.
It's not as easy as it looks, huh, Jay? Giving Craig a hard time about those animal trophies. A little tougher than you thought it was.
I don't want to say it's tough, Rob. I don't know how tough, but very unfortunate situation. Kudos to whoever won the event. You played well. You played well. Okay. You played well.
I'm running out of room on my shelf, Jay.
Huh?
Look, I'm running out of room on my shelf.
Well, that's because you got to take all the books down. Like, it's not loaded with trophies. It's loaded with books.
The books are what got them there.
Books and
did anyone else hear the bitterness in Jay's voice when he
for sure
when he just went, "You played well." That was so bitter.
They played well. Played really well.
I think the person that needs to be bitter is Day, because she's never going to sleep again if Jay keeps running deep in these tournaments till 4 or 5 in the morning.
She is the GOAT rail.
I actually came in 36th in that tournament that we both played last night. We at one point with 100 left, we were 1 and 2.
Right.
We were doing screenshots.
Yep.
And then I just had boom, boom, boom. And so of course I had to rail. It's kind of like when you're at a live tournament with someone and you play and then you bust, you have to stay and rail. And I have a 4 a.m. cutoff. At 4 a.m. I was like, I got to go to sleep.
I'm starting to wake up at about that time.
Yeah, she literally shut it down then. But I was down to 25 bigs. I had a bad run of cards. I was down 25 bigs. And Day's like, I busted. And then she texted. She's like, hey, I'm railing you. I have your table up. And all of a sudden, double up.
Nice.
Win another hand. I was like, Day, you can't go to bed. You cannot go to bed.
And I did go to bed, and then he busted. I kind of felt bad about that. But
you should. It was all your fault.
I told him he has to start paying me. He has to start paying me to be the lucky
I'm
rail
at the final table in Vegas, and he's like, I gotta go to bed, man. I gotta go home. The second he walks out and gets in an Uber, I bust. Thanks for the support, guys.
I felt really bad about that. Hey, but you weren't the only one to make a live final table this weekend, Rob, Jay.
Other
people did too.
Who's that?
You can act like I didn't make a final table and come in third place this weekend.
He did. He did. How many paid at that one? 3.
So it was a single table tournament. You final tabled another single table tournament.
Good job.
It was a multi-table. Okay. I was also in the main event at the Trailblazer. I did not do as well as Jay. I busted. I hopped in the car. I channeled my inner venom. I busted the tournament, got in the car, and drove to another venue. Max late reg the tournament, and final tabled, made the podium, and couldn't ladder. But
good job.
It was a good
you, man. Look at you.
I love the hustle, Craig, because now that you're, the audience doesn't know this, but me and Jay's phones were blowing up this weekend from this poor, panicked, anxiety-laden soccer coach who's like, I'm going to get divorced. I'm going to have to move out of my house. I'm going to have to wear this, North Carolina hat. And, he was losing his mind about this. So to see you, go out and be like, you know what? I'm going to play 2 tournaments at 2 locations in one day. I respect
that. I turned around and played a tournament on Sunday too.
Yeah, I was going to say he knocked out 3 out of 20, so 17 left to go. You're on a good pace.
Yeah, that was good. He wasn't going to sacrifice his love relationship with Lori. The good marriage. Because she's like, you can only play twice a year, Craig. And he had to do all this begging and pleading, but we came up with a solution. See how it goes.
We did come up with a compromise.
I ordered the hat, by the way.
Oh God, I'm not wearing that hat.
Okay.
Speaking of prop bets, though, Craig and our prop bet, where the next person who wins the trophy, a global trophy, wins $100. Mm-hmm. I have been firing every single Grizzly because I'm competitive. It's been kicking my ass. Oh my gosh, mm-hmm. I can't get even close. Like it's been killing me. I've been doing it for 2 weeks now.
Are you ready to buy out?
No, hell no. But I've been firing any other time I fire anything but a Grizzly. I've been doing great. So Sunday, mini scrimmage, your girl got 4th for $1,000.
Let's go.
Well, there, you can afford to pay me the $100 now.
Made all the Grizzly firing, made it all back and then a little bit extra.
Well, Day, you'll be happy to know that I've played 2 Grizzlies and we're still tied, so it's okay. We're still tied.
I know.
He made $7.
I think I played 60. I've made. it's crazy.
He made
it's
$7.
Gonna be yeah. It's going to be a very fun sweat. I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm not going to tell you who my money's on, but I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out. Jim, I want to put you back in the Hollywood Square Center here.
Oh boy. Sure.
And when we bring people on, we kind of want to talk about where their dreams are and what their poker dreams are. So I'd like to hear what you're chasing. What is your poker dream and ultimate goal in this industry?
I mean, it's kind of a strange question because I'm already kind of living my poker dream. I've been a recreational player since I was a kid. I have always loved poker. I've always played for fun. I've been a winning player, but I've never thought about going pro. That sounds like a nightmare. No offense to any pros out there, but no, thank you. But I love playing. I love the game. And the fact that over the years, I've gotten to get more involved with organizations like this, getting into rec poker. I host a poker podcast on Monday nights now. I do coaching, find people like yourselves think I'm interesting enough to bring me onto your show. I mean, I'm living by any metric the most successful version of younger Jim's poker dream. I think from here, what's my poker dream? Good Lord. I mean, I was thinking about it 50 years from now. I won't yet be quite 100, but 50 years from now, I want to be loving poker, playing it, coaching, talking about it, writing about it, the things I'm doing now. And I still want to love poker in 50 years. That's the dream for me. And it's not even close.
So to clarify, you still plan to continue playing poker, correct? You still plan to continue playing, right?
When I have time to do it, that's my number one plan. Absolutely, Jay. Absolutely.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that you're going to continue to make Craig and I money. Is this correct? Is that or is this the end here? No, we have to find another horse.
No, brother. And listen, that was so. If I could take a second to just talk about this summer I was down in Vegas for the WSOP, and I've played the main once, but I'm not like a 10K buy-in kind of player. That's not my bankroll. That's not my game. But I was down there for some of the cheaper bracelet events the week before, and I woke up on the morning of day 1A, and I opened Twitter, and I just saw all these people posting about it, and I got such ridiculous FOMO. I just put it out on Twitter and I said, I really want to play in the main all of a sudden. I don't have $10,000. If I can sell 60% or 50% of my action, I'm going to play the main. And some wonderful people, Jay, you and Craig, Diana, you guys, and about 30 other people all hit me up over Twitter. I ended up selling 70% for approximately 2% here, 2% there. And you guys, 3 of you are here on the show tonight. And as you know, I've still got my payout slip right here from the main event there, 210 for 60K. Oh man, that's that. I just never thought that was going to happen.
To be fair, Jim, Jay didn't know that we had bought a piece of you. I saw the tweet. I didn't want to miss out, so I just bought it. And I was like, "Oh, Jay, by the way, we have a piece of Jim."
Yeah,
Jay's like, of course.
Right. As Jim's dropping pictures of funneling 10Ks, getting ready to rip, and I'm like, oh wow, Jim's firing the main, and I'm like, yeah, I dropped the message like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then here goes Craig. Oh, by the way, we have action. I'm like, holy shit, how much did you give the guy? You know, and then he's running deep. You're running deep, and I'm like, Craig, why the hell wouldn't you buy more? And he's like, holy shit, dude.
I couldn't get in touch.
I was on my whole summer. You buy up the whole 50%.
Yeah, I was on a mountain in Utah, and I looked at my phone. And I saw the tweet, and I'm sitting there going, "Please have cell service. Please have cell service."
I remember you were out like backpacking or something. You were like hiking in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. So that was it. It was like, of course, the biggest score of my life is also the event that I was sold the most action for, of course, as we go with these things. But oh man, I made it deep on day 5. I got to play with so many great players. The guy that busted me out, a certain Jonathan Tamayo, went on to win the whole damn thing. And so I can say I was busted by the best. And I even got to take my winnings and buy a car because our old car died the week before I left for Vegas. That's awesome. So it all worked out.
Very nice.
Yeah.
He didn't bust you with queens, right?
I had queens. He 3-bet.
I tried to tell you fold, but
he 3-bet somebody. Someone opened. He 3-bet. I shoved my last like 17 bigs with pocket queens. He called with the ace 10 of hearts, 10 in the window, ace on the turn.
What a
and yeah, that's how I went out. But honestly, pretty painless. If you got to choose how to bust out of the main event, get it in good, nowhere near a ladder with $60,000 in your pocket. That would be my advice to you if you want to bust out.
I love it.
In a pretty painless fashion. Yeah,
well done.
Well done. I always bust with a smile. Honestly, like we're already winning already. Like everyone in this panel right now has already won the life lottery as far as I'm concerned. So, did we lose a tournament? On to the next.
Right. There you go. We taught Craig that this weekend. So.
but
there are some of us who are better than others at that, I think.
Oh yeah.
I'm not naming names.
I'm with you, Jim, but I will ask you this because I remember the feeling. The moment you did bust, though, in that moment, it still hurts.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
of course. And I actually have
even when they're handing you the money, you're just like,
oh yeah. I have a patented technique for dealing with that, though, Craig. If it's helpful to you, it's the Jim Reid patented toe stub technique. And what you do is you're allowed to hop around and curse and shout as long as you would if you had just stubbed your toe really badly, and then you have to move on and put it behind you. So you're allowed to just vent, do it. And then just like water off the duck's back. And
did you hear that, Brett?
New day.
Yeah, I wish I'd have taken that advice when I busted the main in like 172nd. I cried from Las Vegas to Phoenix roughly on my drive home. Didn't stop. Yeah, that was my way of dealing with it.
Yep. That's how it feels. That's how it feels. I actually, that was only the second time I've ever played the main. The first time I played the main, I actually did cry a little bit when I busted because I had just lost my dad earlier that year. And this was like one of the things that he would have loved so much to see me do. And I remember so specifically busting. I got it in like 8s versus aces with 8 big blinds. What are you going to do? And I walked over to like the back of the hallway, and I just like had this moment where I was just like, Dad's not going to ever see me win a tournament like this. Like that time has passed. And it kind of like just felt real in a very real way. And I've always kind of associated that with Las Vegas and playing in these big tournaments and that kind of thing. Now it's like, you really have to seize the opportunities to make these memories while you can, because it can all be taken away so quickly.
For sure. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Speaking of, I did hear you right. 50 years from now, you want to be
Bring
playing.
It on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what? You're gonna be sitting at the table with your PB and J. How are you gonna keep teeth from getting
Yeah.
stuck in the sandwich.
Actually, I think smoothie technology is going to have come a long way over the next 50 years. And I'm a whole wheat guy. With like, I think you can really raise the ceiling on what we're doing with sandwich smoothie technology.
You and Craig need to get together, do some smoothies. Craig, PB&J smoothies. He's all over it.
I will not go into PB&J flavored protein powder for sure.
Now you're talking.
Craig, you're way ahead of
I
your
will
time,
not go too much in detail here, Jim, but when I was a youth pastor, we did a hot dog milkshake competition, and one of the kids projectile vomited everywhere. So
yeah.
Okay, that's pretty detailed, but okay.
No. I'm having a flashback to like that's like the Stand By Me movie or whatever it is. Oh god,
that's the PG-13 version. I'll just leave it at that. There's another version of that story for another time.
So all jokes aside, I am curious though. So in the next 50 years, let's say, and you mentioned coaching, right? So are you talking like you want to grow like a coaching website, or do you want to have more one-on-one students? Like, how do you envision this going down?
Well, I mean, so Rec Poker, and of course, if anyone's interested in getting more involved with Rec Poker, just go to joinrec.poker. It's a fantastic free community. We do all sorts of great stuff with recreational poker players of all skill levels. So we do a lot of group coaching there through our membership program. And I also have a lot of one-on-one students or clients that have just reached out over the years because they've, liked the way that I approach poker on the podcast, or they've become premium members, and they, I'm pretty good at kind of getting at that area where recreational players are trying to get at. I'm not the best poker player in the world. I play in the same kind of stakes and games that a lot of recreational players play in. And I love coaching. I think coaching is probably the most fun I have minute per minute in the in the poker world. I love hosting the podcast. I love playing. I love studying. But coaching is like elements of all of those things all tied into one. And then you also get the amplifier of actively making someone else better. And like that's I just find that so rewarding and validating. So yeah, I'm always looking for new clients, new people to work with, and the more slots I fill in the week, it's just the less of other stuff I can get up to. But yeah, nothing would make me happier. It's I feel like it's one of the things I do best, and it's one of the things I enjoy most. And like when those two things intersect, it's like, how can you do as much of that as possible?
So you did hear Brett. He said, in 50 years, you want to be coaching?
Among other things, but yeah, I mean, I hope I've still got some tricks up my sleeve.
I'm assuming you've got to be using a digital medium, because the only way I see this happening is if you get them to install an iPod or an iPad on the inside of the box.
Well, I will tell you, Sean, I'm drinking a low carb beer. I'm on the treadmill every morning. I'm intermittently fasting. I think I've got a real shot at making it to 94. So we'll just see. We'll just see.
Coaching poker may not be the right way to go then, right?
Well, by then, won't hologram technology be a thing? And like you could just have a younger version of you, coaching poker. People wouldn't know the difference.
We're actually feeding me into an AI right now.
Right? Is that what Craig is using? A hologram? Yeah. You're a hologram? Yeah. So we're witnessing the younger version of Craig.
I think those are
So Jake stole my thunder earlier. Okay, Jake kind of stole my thunder earlier, but Jim, because I think Rob's been on your pod, Brett's been on your pod, Jay's been on your pod, I've been on your pod. Listen, is a knuckle sandwich a sandwich? We need to. This is an important question. Forget the hot dog. Forget the taco, Jim. Is a knuckle sandwich a sandwich?
You know what? It's not a sandwich, but Craig, you could eat one.
I have.
Challenge.
I didn't know when to shut up when I was a kid.
That seemed like a threat.
Shots fired.
On that note, welcome to the crew here. Yeah, I love it. Jim's just plugging in, just like one of us.
Well done.
Absolutely.
Wait. We do need to speak up and say, look, Mika couldn't be here tonight. Jim, you just landed Mika's punch. So
nice. There you go.
Well done.
Good stuff.
That was pretty good.
Yep. Yeah. I want to bring that Mika energy. I'm here for
There
it.
you go.
Yeah, for sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody who is watching over on Twitch, on Twitter. You can head to watchchasethedream.com to get funneled over to the YouTube channel. It's where most of the people are hanging out. Or if you're listening on the podcast, feel free to enter watchchasethedream.com and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can hang out with us live on Wednesday nights. I want to talk about something I'm really fired up about. And it came through a casual conversation I heard this weekend at the Rec Poker Weekend, where somebody said something to the effect of, man, I wish we could go back to pre-Black Friday and know what we know now. And I got a little fired up inside because I believe that we're in the golden era of poker. I could care less to go back to pre-Black Friday. I actually love exactly where we are at today. And I feel like there is so much opportunity right now in live poker. There is so much opportunity right now in online poker. And for those of us that did go through the horrors of Black Friday and losing everything we had, it's so easy to take all of that for granted. It's so easy to be in a place where we just see it as the status quo and we think it's never going to change. And I don't know how long it's going to be. Maybe it's 10 years, maybe it's 20 years, maybe it's 51 years, right? Right after Jim retires. Someday we're going to look back for sure and go, I wish I would have played more during that time. I wish we would have gotten more opportunity at that time. And I am so passionately motivated to force myself out of the basement, out of the bathtub, and onto the live felt and onto the online felt, because I mean, I saw it this weekend. The poker is in such a great spot that I don't want to miss it. And I don't want any of you to miss it. Like, if I could do anything, if I could force you guys at gunpoint to do anything over this next year, it'd be to get as much volume in as you reasonably could. You know, don't get divorced, don't get, you know, go bankrupt or get fired from your job or anything. But I really, 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 really want to see all of you ramp your volume up and take advantage of this, because I really, truly believe we're in a special time. And yeah, maybe that special time goes on for 20 years. Maybe it gets better. I don't know. I just know from experience, it can go away like that. And I think we're all susceptible to taking this for granted. So that's where I want to start the conversation. I want to hear from you guys what you think about this, because I get fired up about this.
Yeah, I'm with you, Rob. You know how I feel about this as well. I think this is the moment. And I know there's probably a lot of argument to say, you know, the moneymaker era, and, you know, we've been through a lot, and yeah, there's a lot of people that are studied, and people continue to improve, but there's a caveat to that, in my opinion. But for you, like, what do you think are like if you only had to pick three, right? What are the top three keys if you're going to successfully approach this era, right? And where do you think the honey hole exists? Do you think it exists in MPTs? Do you think it exists in cash? Or should you be carving out both, right? Because I agree, like we're probably in a special place, and there's probably a million reasons that I could think of as to why, and most people are not going to take advantage of it. But what do you think? If you only had to pick three, what would you say are the top three keys?
Oh God, you want me to narrow it down to three? Put me on the spot, huh? I think, well, first off, the honey hole's everywhere. You name it. I mean, if you even go back 5 years, right? It was like you had the WPT, you had the WSOP circuit, you had the MSPT, and you had like Heartland Poker Tour. That was it. And then COVID happened. Heartland Poker Tour went away, never came back. We have like 20 tours now. Like, what was the thing? The Trailblazer Tour that you guys just played in. There's a Poker Atlas Tour. There's so many things. So many things going on. There's infinite opportunity live. And online's blowing up. We have new sites coming in. Club WPT Gold's coming in. We've got Global Poker. Coin Poker is making a huge rise. We have more options available to us today than we've probably ever had since Black Friday. So the game's growing. Numbers are growing. Things are booming. Honeypot is overflowing. In terms of three keys, they're really boring. You got to get your basics down. Know your ranges. People hate to study ranges. It's the most boring part of poker, but it's the most essential part of poker. Exploitative poker, and there's lots of different places you can learn exploitative poker. Head over to Rec Poker, join rec.poker, go over there, check out their site. They've got, I don't know, Jim, what? Thousands of hours of content, literally.
Oh yeah.
On their website, they have book studies every week. They have different study groups that meet in different formats. They even have an online play and hang where they actually talk through their hands in real time, almost like Poker Out Loud. Infinite options out there, and content is free on YouTube now. So getting those exploits down is really important. And then this is just my personal opinion: learning to be aggressive late in tournaments, especially, is something where people really, really struggle because everybody wants the main cash. They want to get to the final table. Getting over that hump and learning how to be confident and aggressive late, I think, is really good.
I wonder, though. I mean, I don't disagree with you, but I do wonder where the new players are going to come from. Because, I think back when the first poker boom hit, a lot of it was driven by TV. And then the advertising from the main online sites that was really driving the new player, the player acquisition. And, so I'm wondering kind of where the new players are coming from in general. And then specifically here in Texas, the ecosystem, there's a barrier to entry. Like, I know people who might want to play, but when I talk about the games play too big. And so it's very intimidating to walk into a card room in Texas and sit down and try to play and maybe learn, because it's going to be a very expensive lesson to learn. And without those small games for people to get their feet wet, I sometimes worry that we're not getting new players coming into the game. So where do you think they're coming from? Where do you think they're going to come from?
I mean, the data says otherwise. The data says otherwise, right? I mean, Dayton, Ohio is running a $600 $1 million guaranteed with Toledo, Ohio twice a year. The hell? Like, I mean, you're seeing these little poker clubs popping up in Ohio and Tennessee and Mississippi and Texas. And now there's a poker tour in like North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana. I mean, it's growing. I mean, the numbers are there. I can't explain it. I can't tell you why it's happening.
Do you think it's ever going to get back to TV, though? Or do you think it needs to?
I don't think it needs to with all the streaming these days. Everything's going to streaming. So, but haven't we like smashed the main event numbers like 2 years in a row now? Haven't we beat those records 2 years in a row for a 10K buy-in event? I mean, that tells you the numbers are there. And they're just going to keep growing. I think more online sites like WPT Gold definitely going to help add to the satellite winners and whatnot of these main events and WPT events. So that's going to be big as well. More online poker, because we haven't really had that in the US that much, aside from ACR or Bovada or something. So
right. And so this is the thing, Craig. We're wondering where this comes from, like where the pool comes from, but like, one, it's your job to get out there and get the people into the rooms, right? And whether that's through continuing to coach, continuing to just have conversation, encourage folks to bring folks. I think like the part that we're also misunderstanding, like, yeah, it can be intimidating to walk into a room, especially like in Texas, right? And they walk in, it's my first time, and they look at a 1-2 game and they see these mounds of chips there. But the reality is that the money's just going to continue to funnel, right? So, example, like when we're in the game, and as hard as we're working, right, to carve out a profit day over day, there are going to be times where you kind of got to let folks win. This is why I don't get upset, like if I take a bad beat in a certain spot in a cash game, because the reality is we got to keep them coming, And then if you start looking further down the road, for example, a place like Dallas, that's a big market city, right? But doesn't currently have a brick and mortar. Well, once that goes through, now it's a different type of funnel, right? Like you have different people coming into the area that are just there casually, right? Like they go over there, they're over at, what is that, Texas Live over there. They all get hammered and they're like, oh, let's go to the casino, right? And they go over there and they come in. There's just going to be a constant rotation. Now, when we talk about folks that are coming into the game that want to play the game long term, those spots are going to get a little bit tougher, right? But the reality is that it's on us, in my opinion, to be welcoming, right? There's way too many new players, recreational players, right? That we tend to, they get berated at a table, or people are openly stating like, they just play really bad. Like, yeah, tournaments are soft. Like all the events there's a lot of soft events. Eventually those folks get better. But then what happens when those folks get better? Well, they have friends that aren't on that level. So now guess what? Those people now, they step in, right? And next thing you know, you just have another wave of it. It's, to me, is a little bit different because then like the moneymaker days, because that set a precedence. But at the same time, the prize pools were nowhere near the size of what you're looking at right now, right? And in my opinion, like they just continue to grow. And I'm talking about the smallest events. This 400K that happened over at TCH, man, that thing hit 525K, right?
530 or 528, yeah.
530. The 1K main hit 1.3 million. I said that I thought they were just going to barely break it, right?
That was an 800 main, by the way.
Correct. Yeah. And here was the difference, right? The in my opinion, again, because I know there's people out there that probably won't agree, but in my opinion, now what happens is, example, this main, when it was at the Atlas Tour for both events, it started off at an 1100. Do you remember the first one? It was 1100 in here. Yeah, right. And then the second one went to 900. This one became an 800, right? I said, I sent you a message the other day and I was like, man, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing probably hits a floor of like 700, right?
Be sick.
Right? Like, it'd be absolutely insane. The only problem we have is that the card room, right? The card rooms don't have the real estate within the buildings because they're not going to be able to build outside of it, right? Like the city's going to shut that down. They just don't have the real estate, the square footage, you know what I mean, to hold events like that. It was 280 damn alternates, you know?
It's too bad that Polk and his group didn't open that room right down the street from me. That was a big space they were looking at. It would have been the biggest card room in Texas.
Right. Yeah, and I think to Rob's point, where most folks are missing the boat is it requires you to do these extra things, right, to be a part of it. And if you just, you have a dream or something you want to do, like, you're going to have to go the extra mile, but I'm sure there's other things out there, right, that are kind of like, your big threes, like example, Jim, like, let me know, what do you think are like some of the key successes to take advantage of this time,
It's we talk about this at Rick Poker a lot. The problem is it's one fun key and then two really boring keys. And the fun one is finding people to talk poker with, like watching videos, listening to podcasts, like there's a lot of passive ways to study poker, and it's better than not studying poker. But the best way to study is actively having your assumptions challenged, needing to put your strategies into your own words, actually having to talk through your action. So joining a community of some kind, obviously, like the free community at Rec Poker is a fantastic one. But there's a million great groups out there that all have excellent people who are looking to help you improve as a player. Even just talking with your friends. The problem is, like, not everyone has friends who are interested in poker and also like capable of having a meaningfully helpful conversation about poker. Right. So like you do need to reach out for that. So that's the fun one. And then the two real keys for every poker player should be game selection and bankroll discipline. And when I talk about bankroll discipline, I basically mean like actually objectively tracking your wins and losses, and then playing with what you can afford to play with, whether you're a recreational player or a professional player. You don't even need to be that good at poker. But if you're exercising good bankroll management and game selection, you can go pretty far. You can have a great time. You can play a lot of poker. And to me, those are the three. But I wish it was sexier than that. But those are the three.
Well, a lot of good advice, I guess. I say, It's a bunch of bullshit. And that it's a lot of fun. You can win a lot of money. I will not hurt you. Come to the light, children, and play.
By light, he means dark, by the way.
Yeah.
For sure.
I
Go to the
won't
dark
hurt
side.
you. I'll be nice to you. You'll have so much
real
fun.
sweet.
Sean, let's remind everybody you're in Tunica, right? That's where we're supposed to avoid.
I have a car.
We'll stay out of your space. You have all of them to yourself.
Just come to the light, children. It's a fun game.
I
It's a fun
too
game.
am never going back to Memphis.
Sean doesn't want us there. He's got it all to himself.
Smart man.
Dave, what are your
All
thoughts?
right,
What are your thoughts?
I want to piggyback a little bit off of Jim here because Jim said game selection, and I've been traveling to different series now for a little over 3 years, and the one biggest lesson that I've learned is you need to travel to these series where the player pool isn't well studied or having fun. You're going to have more success for sure.
Yep.
And, like Jim always says, poker is supposed to be a really fun game. You're supposed to enjoy yourself. Just kind of keeping it real. My last 2 experiences of the WSOP, it's nice to see my pocket queens friends and to that social aspect. But the games, when you're firing a 1K, it's just harder. It's harder than when you're over, in Hammond, Indiana, playing a $400 buy-in. It's just the player. So that's, I think the game selection is huge, whether you're traveling like I like to do, or whether you're deciding where you want to play cash, or even online. Like I've always said, global is way softer than, playing against bots and ACR.
ACR. I'm going to say ACR.
You can say it.
Sorry.
Yeah, you said not to cut
but
you
I
off.
also want to say,
not to cut you off, Dave, really quick.
Yeah.
That is the first time I've ever seen you hold back.
Why today?
Why today? Respectfully,
can I get sued if I say that? Will I get the slander notice from some attorney if I say that? Okay, but I've got to say this too. When you talk about Rob, new players, where they're going to come from, and the whole golden era thing, that's debatable. But just my experience in talking to people, and I don't even know how you guys all started, but I'm just going to say what I usually hear from guys is that, I started playing in college. There was a group of us playing together, with this friend group. Pretty much in the history of poker, this has been males, all men dominated, right? You'd start and you'd play $1 or a quarter, whatever in school. And that's how you started getting interested. I've never known a woman, again, my generation, my age, hopefully it's changed. Hopefully now you can go to a college campus and there's groups of women playing poker. I really think that's a thing now. Yeah. But back for my age, that wasn't a thing. So you look at the poker pool, all these women, 50% of the population, that just there needs to be more entry that isn't going to a casino that's intimidating, where you're playing 1-2 with $1,000 at the table, but that's more of the social stuff, like how you guys all started.
Yeah.
And when you have that, then you're going to have more people, because you guys then all of a sudden you get older, you get a job, and then you're you're not studying. You're just like, oh, I played poker in college. I can go and play poker, like at the casino. No big deal. True. At some point, you lose enough money and then you're like, oh, maybe I should start studying. But there are a lot of guys out there still, my age, older, younger, whatever, that think that experience of just playing with their friends is enough. And those are the players that I like to play against.
Mm-hmm. You and Sean both.
Yeah. And we want that to continue. But we also want women in that, like we want women out there too who want to do this. So yeah, it's like, I think, right now, all the resources out there to study and all the videos. I mean, you take Hungry Horse, who's like, we've all talked about, is like, like awesome, his videos. If you're talking about young people studying, I don't want to play against those people. I want to play against the people that have just come up playing in home games and think it's fun.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think there are, Rob, it's like the whole era of poker. Are there more of those people now? Or are there more of those people back in the moneymaker day?
I mean, do you look at the world now and consider the world to be a disciplined, intelligent, mature, like group of people? Like, I mean,
present included,
Yeah, like, if anything, the YouTube era and the content era has just given people more things to look at and study while they're watching Netflix and TikTok on their phones at the same time. I don't see that stuff having a major impact.
I still laugh at poop and fart jokes, so yeah.
Well, and so does Ben CB apparently, because now that's an object lesson for ICM. So there you go. If you guys didn't see that tweet today,
speaking my language.
Unbelievable.
And this is what, because all of you are like making extremely valid points, and I think I've been saying this. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Rob. For the last like 2-3 years, I was like, hey, it's incoming. Like, we're getting ready to see probably this additional spike. And you probably hear this a lot too from like a lot of the elite players or players that are just highly involved in the poker community, right? But I was like, man, but it's probably going to be a lot bigger than people think. And it's important for us. Like, we're not trying to bring people in to say like, hey, come in, we want to take your money, or come in and take my money, right? It's more or less just getting more people into the game, and this is why I would say, like, to your point, Day, of like, how do we bring folks in? I give you an example, and I know Brett could probably speak on this, but you guys joke around because I walk around, I look like a NASCAR driver with all my patches on.
You and Jim both.
How many wearing?
Right. But example, like if you like go ahead and bring Jim in right there on the main screen really quick. And look at the other patch that he has on, right? It's a WPA patch. So, right. I mean, you're talking about the Women's Poker Association. Like, these are the things that, in my opinion, if we claim to be a very big part of the poker community, and we tend to not be the negative side of the poker community, I will throw that out there because I could care less how anybody feels about that. Like, we're not the negative side, we're the positive side, and we're trying to do our best, right, to bring people in the game, make it enjoyable, make it welcoming. It is our obligation to do just those small things. Right. Like, I had a conversation the other day. We were talking about, people were asking about the pod because they saw the patch, and, it's great. It's a good conversation piece. Right. And I told them, like, we don't talk poker hands. But the thing is the conversation I brought up was like, two of the members are Pocket Queen members. Right. And I had somebody at the table say, hey, what's Pocket Queens? Right. So now we get into that portion of the conversation. Right. Like, where is their mentoring? There's people that want to grow in the game. I play in a cash game right now with this kid who I think should probably be playing at the 5-10 level, but he doesn't. He plays a 1-2, occasionally 2-5. And, we had a conversation, and he's like, hey, like, I don't know which. I'm like, look, dude, you're crushing the game right now. It's no different other than you just taking 1K, and go step up, play the 2-5 game. If you want to have conversation about it, I'll be more than happy to talk to you about it, and give them support, mentoring, whatever it is, just to support them. But like, we own that. In my opinion, I think 100%. We understand the positive side of this, and I know, Brett, like, you had some insight, like, with the, bringing in like from the women perspective, you know?
Mm-hmm. I honestly, like, we think poker's big now, and we think now's the golden era. Just wait until we get the influx of women in poker. Like, just wait till a woman wins the main event. I mean, you
Mika
think
said
things
she's
are
doing it
big
next
now.
year.
Oh, my money is on Mika. You know, I guarantee a woman is going to win the main event soon. I actually posted something about this on Twitter with a poll if people think it's going to happen within the next 10 years. And a majority of people do think it's going to be in the next 10. I think the next 5 is realistically possible. There's always 1 or 2 women going deep, and it's only a matter of time before a woman wins the main event. And as soon as they do, that's when we'll see a major influx, in my opinion. In addition to what Pocket Queens does, WPA, and others out there to welcome women into poker.
Yeah, we were talking about Team NASCAR there earlier. Saying everyone's
there's
a big community out there.
Right
there's a lot of poker communities out there. Get in it.
Right. That's my guy.
I love it, Jim. I love it.
Speaking Jay's language right there.
Hey, Craig, I'm pretty sure you probably have an interesting thought process.
He definitely has an interesting thought process.
I have lots of interesting thoughts.
Craig's our intellectual one.
Oh God.
Yeah. Pray for the rest of you.
So I was reading on this other blog the other day, and I came across this really interesting story about this book, and I looked into it a little bit. It's a book about tennis. The book's title is "Extraordinary Tennis for the Ordinary Tennis Player," and the author, his name's Simon Ramo. He broke down the difference between amateur tennis and professional tennis, and he wrote that it was 2 different games. And this is going to resonate, I think, a lot with kind of how we probably should be thinking and approaching a lot of the poker we're playing. He said amateur tennis is a loser's game. 80% of points are lost on unforced errors. You win by avoiding errors and waiting for your opponents to make errors. Whereas in professional tennis is a winner's game. 80% of points are won with incredible shots. You have to hit incredible shots. And I just want to throw that analogy out there and then let you guys run with it in terms of like how we should be approaching the game. He said the core insight is you have to know which game you're playing.
I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like that. I think in poker, although, man, like, so because poker is like never going to be solved, right? I mean, too many combinations. We all know that. Like, you can maybe solve pre-flop charts, whatever, but there's too many combinations of decision making to ever have it be solved. So, I mean, can't you get to almost the very top and just let your opponents make mistakes? You know, like, I don't think, I'm not going to be playing any Tritons anytime soon, but I bet if I played every $400,000, $600,000 tournament and just let my opponents make mistakes, I mean, I bet I would do really, really well.
You mean you haven't figured out how to play 3-bet, 6-way, multi-way spots yet? No, you haven't figured that out. You got work to do today.
Yeah. What do you think, Jim? What do you think?
Well, no, I think I really like that analogy that Craig referenced there. We talk a lot about, especially for recreational players, poker is a game of making fewer mistakes than your opponents make and smaller mistakes. And that is crucial, like that, to understanding how to play poker in the recreational streets for sure. It's not even about how high is your ceiling. It's about how high is your floor. Working on the stuff that you're worst at is a huge impact. And it's the reason why a bad fold is better than a bad call, right? Like, it's just you're going to make mistakes. None of us are going to play perfectly. So the question isn't how do I play perfectly? The question is just how do I avoid the big mistakes? And that's going to set you apart from a lot of players. Definitely.
Agree.
So, Craig, when you were reading this, did you feel like, in order to be a great poker player, you have to be pro? Like, you have to be the one?
No. What struck me is that, when you start, if you watch the Triton guys and you watch the best of the best, and it is about making the play, right?
Mhm.
The 1% play. But for most of us, 99% of what we're doing probably ought to be playing what the loser's game. And it's not to be denigrated to say the loser's game. It's that the people who the game, the points are lost. They're not won. And so, yes, like you said, keep the ball on the court. And it's funny because when I'm not a tennis player, but I played a little bit growing up. Like I had a friend that was pretty good and I'd go hit with them. And he would just keep the ball in play until I messed up. He was good enough to just keep the ball on the court. And eventually I'm going to shank it or, make a bad play. And that's how he would beat me. He didn't try to hit winners. He was playing the loser's game. And he knew if he kept me in a rally long enough, I was going to lose it. And when I read it, I was just like, this is poker. This is what most of poker is. Sean, I'm sure you have thoughts.
Yeah. See, kids, all of you out there listening, this is all genius. Just come on in, play. You'll be fine. I'm not kidding. Come on in. Just try it out. You can. I mean, what are you going to sit at home and just wish that you played? Come on in. Give it a shot. It'll be fine. It really will. It'll be fine.
Sometimes I feel like Sean is broadcasting from my basement. I have a trap door down to my basement, and everyone's always making fun of me for like this kill room that I have down there, like the monster in Jim's basement.
Go in the basement.
I'm getting major Jim's basement vibes from Sean on this one. I love it.
The
very dark.
Underneath the basement.
The basement. Yeah.
That's pretty much where he's at.
I mean, there's an easy way to find out, Jim. Come on down. I mean, go down.
Come on in.
Where do you think Sean takes his souls? To the basement for sure. Isn't the definition though of exploitative play capitalizing on mistakes that players are making? I mean, isn't that what we strive for?
Yep.
So that's exactly. That's exactly, and I think like when we're again just coming at it from a recreational player, like we don't have to worry so much about like playing perfectly because the players that we're playing against are just making big mistakes all the time. You can just kind of like run around with your hands out and just catch the chips that they drop when they punt. The higher that you get, the more sophisticated your opponents are, the less you have to worry about offense, and the more you have to worry about defense. And that's where like the GTO comes in, and like you're actually you're protecting yourself from making mistakes by not swinging too far to the exploitative extreme. But I do think that's very well said. That's a great way of thinking about it.
Right. And coaching's okay, right? I know there's a lot of discussions like shouldn't coach at the table. And it's not anything that I ever do. I wouldn't want anybody telling me what the hell to do in the middle of a hand, especially if I got my ass kicked in the hand, right? But there are times, where you go have a conversation outside and you're like, what's that, Craig? What?
Could you have been a little bit more patient?
I am patient. See, that's the shit right there.
What a needle. Oh, man.
See, Craig, that's the shit right there.
But the worst part is that I didn't say it first. I'm just quoting. I'm quoting your lovely.
Yes. My lovely wife did make sure to let me know that I should have been a little more patient. She did.
That's so helpful. That's such helpful advice.
It's very helpful. Too bad I couldn't have my phone on stage. You know what I mean?
Secret to a good marriage.
Play on stream.
Right. But I do think it's okay for you to go out. Like I've done this. You go outside. You have a conversation with somebody. Like, hey, like. And they'll look at you and be like, what do you think about that spot? And just be honest. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like putting them in a situation where they just feel like, you're just telling me that next time, so I stack off on you. You know what I'm saying? Like just be honest, man. Like we want people to grow. We want people to get better. Rob and Craig, Brett, like all of them know. They're like, you just like to play in the harder games. I do. But not all the time, right? Right? It's very situational for me. But I don't mind the tough games because I just feel like it just makes me that much better.
Yeah, there's a reason we play Copa. It's not exactly right.
This brings everything full circle for me because again, right? Like the fact that we're in an era where the optimal way to play right now is to play the loser's game and play just patiently and wait for people to make mistakes is a very clear sign that this is a good time to be playing the game. I know Sean's kind of facetiously like, get in the water, but like it really is an amazing time to get in. You know,
he's curious.
He's definitely for sure.
Yeah. At Rec Poker Weekend, I'm sitting at this tournament, and one of the Rec Poker members was next to me. I won't dox who it was, but he leans over to me and he's like, "The guy that just sat down in the 6th seat, watch out for him. He just won an MSPT." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Very first hand, MSPT championship, limps from UTG1. I'm like, okay. Very next hand, he limps from under the gun. Okay. Defends the big blind, defends the small blind, calls on the button. Bro played like 10 hands in a row. And I'm like, how good is this guy? Like, you know, like
it's anybody's game. Come on out.
It's you see
and limp. That's the best strategy, right, Sean?
you see all kinds of things in these tournaments, and you see all kinds of players in these tournaments. And I think one of the reasons people struggle at this game is because they get in these games and they try to force it. It's like, I gotta out willpower my opponent. I gotta outplay them. I gotta want this pot more. I gotta prove that I can run them over and pull this sick bluff. And in reality, all you gotta do is not F up. Like, that's it. Just don't F up. Just don't be a hero. Don't try to pull the TV shit from 2013. And we see all these sick bluffs online, and we want to mimic that because it looks fun. But that's not what wins, right? You just play smart poker. You play patient poker. It takes you a long way. And like, this is why I'm going to be, you thought the bankroll speech was nauseating. You got sick of me talking about bankroll and how important bankroll is. Brother, I got a new box to stand on. My new soapbox right now is get your friggin' volume in. Get your ass in the seat. I don't care if it's online. I don't care if it's live. Get your volume in, because 2025 is going to be a special year.
Right. And anybody who wants help, anyone who wants help with the bankroll piece, I got something in line. I'm working on something in the background. So folks that want, the help, the support, and it comes from a lot of these conversations, right, that lead up to this. You know what I'm saying? But I do have some stuff out there that at some point I'll
if you're looking for backing, VA Venom on Twitter.
Wait,
now taking applications for horses. All right, so let's wrap this up. Talk about the funniest things we heard on the poker table this week. Craig, we'll kick it off with you.
Okay, so we're playing at TCH in the main, the main of the Trailblazer. And a guy opens, I'm not going to give hand history, but like a guy opens, two people call, and the big blind, he defends the big blind with 9-8 suited. Flop comes king 8-8. Big blind checks with the intent probably to check raise. It checks through. 4 on the turn brings the flush draw with his suited 9-8. And big blind leads. The original raiser now raises, but small. Other two guys fold. Big blind pauses, calls. River, big blind checks, goes to the other guy. The guy goes all in. And this is where it gets funny / tragic. The big blind says, I just don't know if I'm good enough. I just don't know if I'm good enough to fold here. I should probably fold here. I call. And then 5 minutes later, I walked out.
I knew this had to be Craig. I literally was like, this has got to be Craig. Craig must have been in this spot.
I like the twist, though, at the end. That was good.
I like the twist. I also like the I'm not going to tell a hand history, and then he tells the entire hand.
Yeah. And the bad beat all in one.
Like, he broke how many rules? How many CTD rules did he break there? We got a bad beat story. We got a hand history. I just in chat was like, no hand history, no bad beats, guys.
He's a rule breaker.
Listen, I was doxing myself. No, I was trying to play the winner's game in the loser's game, and I was the loser. I walked out the door. Jay goes on to bag, and I went and win the Copa, or come in third in the Copa.
Good job, loser.
So Craig, in every hand, there's got to be a winner, and there has to be a loser. I don't know if you know this. That's the only way.
We should have a swear jar. We should have a swear jar, but it's not like Craig. You have to put $20 in a jar right now.
Yeah, bad beat jar.
We'll keep it at his house for
bad beat jar. That would be convenient. Yeah,
Jim, what do you got for us?
Well, mine's also kind of about it's not a hand history and it's not a bad beat, but when it comes to the end of the tournament and you're starting to get a little short stacked, one of the favorite things that I do is I use a little Rec Poker shot glass as a card protector. And when I get low enough that I can fit all my chips into the shot glass, it slides into the middle as my all in. And there's this like fun little shtick at the table. And you know, if you bust me in a tournament, you get to keep the shot glass. It's actually add some shot glass equity. Oh yeah, for sure. And so we were playing at Rec Poker Weekend at Running Aces this weekend. And I was getting a little short on Saturday. And it was at that point. But I still had enough chips to cause some trouble. So 2 players limp in front of me. And it's time to load up the shot glass. You know, battle formation, and it goes. And you know, I turned to the guy to my left, Eric, who's a buddy of mine. I'm like, Eric, do you have a shot glass collection? And he's like, no. I'm like, you could start one today. And he's deciding whether to call or not. And he's really tanking. And he looks down and he looks at his cards. He looks at me and he says, I don't have a shot glass collection, but I do already have a shot glass. I think I'm just going to pass on this one. It was like, all right, God damn it. But yeah. It's a lot of fun. I like tossing this in. And then you know, you do this long enough, you get these little lines. Every time I win a pot and now there's too many chips to put in the shot glass, you're gonna love this one, Rob. It's like, hey, anyone got a Rec Poker pint glass?
Tell me you do that laugh too, please.
Oh, I always do the laugh. Gotta do the laugh.
We need to make one, Jim. We're gonna add that to the marketing.
We should get one.
Along with the gold patch. We're gonna have the
yeah, that's right. That's right. Glass. The gold patch.
Jay, what you got for us? Oh, go ahead, Brett. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, speaking of patch, when does Jay get the Rec Poker patch on? That's what I'm wondering. Gotta be coming soon. Huh?
I only got one.
We're tweaking that. I'm getting a bunch in the mail as soon as we get off the line.
Send them down to Dallas.
Yeah. So get this right. I'm playing a cash game in Choctaw, which we all know one is Craig's favorite place to play.
100%.
Because he's a whisperer out there. 2, how do I say this?
It makes me feel young.
It's a fun game, you know?
And it makes me feel young.
Yeah, right. and you're just like, it's not exploitable, right? But profitable, you know?
It's very profitable.
So I'm sitting there with 700 in front of me. And I get in this spot.
Bad beat story incoming.
No. It wasn't.
Is there a hand history?
It wasn't a bad beat. It wasn't a bad beat. It was a bad jam. So anyway, I get his hand right prior to the hand. The guy on my left, older gentleman, he was from Oklahoma, and he was a pretty funny guy. We're talking, and he's like, "Hey," he's like, "So like you do this professionally?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, that's awesome." Like we're having this whole conversation about it, right? So anyway, I get in this big hand. I'm not gonna go through the hand because
thank God.
Right, because Craig will give me hell later. So anyway, I make a jam on the river, and the guy in the big blind snap calls me. Right, so pilot $1,400 pop. Whoops! I slam my hand over, right, because naturally I thought I was winning. And the big blind slow rolls me, turns over the nuts. I have like second nuts. He turns over the nuts.
Bad beat story.
I literally, and I look and I go, you got to be shitting me. And I have zero desire to buy back into this game, right? It's because I should have never gotten in the situation. I get up, and the guy that was on my left, as I get ready to grab my bag, he's like, "Hey, buddy." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Looks like you need to take up golf."
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
What'd you do with the body? Holy
yeah. So,
damn.
I haven't been to Choctaw since.
I'm totally gonna use that
because I left my soul in that seat after that comment.
Damn.
You know? So that was great.
That's brutal.
You guys,
And then he left his soul in the seat. Sean came and scooped it up. For his collecting.
The Grim Reaper.
Yikes.
So what's everybody as we head out here? What's everybody doing this week? Day, you're going to Pompano Beach.
I'm going to Pompano Beach to WSOP circuit, playing the ladies on Friday, right? The ladies is on Friday. Well, not like you guys know. I'm pretty sure we're playing the ladies on Friday. And hoping to get one other, $400 ring event in also. So
good luck.
Yeah,
Jay.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
excited,
good luck.
excited.
Good for you.
Take it down.
Thank you. What about anybody else?
Well, listen, I don't know, bad timing, but should have been last weekend. My wife's out of town this weekend. So I am going to get working on my prop bet, try to get some hours in, trying to get some cash in this weekend. So I hope to put in some volume, maybe, a 2-hour session here, half an hour session there, my speed.
Nice.
Yeah. Right. You're going to play cash or tournament?
I'm going to do whatever. I have the whole weekend.
Oh,
nice.
I guess I'm bailing on my online grind because
that's good.
Craig walks in a room.
Greg's money's on the table. You better come for it.
There, buddy.
Sweet
Craig
Greg money.
It's motivation. I want you to stay longer at the cash game. Yeah. We got some prop bets in the background, so let me know. I mean,
where exactly are you guys going to be?
Yeah,
that's right. I'm actually thinking about going to Choctaw, Jay.
Oh, are you? Really?
I mean, I can put in a long session and I don't have to worry about losing a lot of money.
My ass will be online then because I'm not stepping foot in there. I don't ever want to see that guy's face again.
I might stay.
Have you been working on your golf game though? That's a good.
I'll go to the resort side.
I've got my son for the second weekend in a row, so I'm pretty happy about that.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Winning dad life.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, I know me and Jim are getting caught up on everything that we didn't get done while we were in Minnesota, but it was absolutely worth it.
Yeah, we shared a room, but I feel like I barely talked to you about anything that wasn't on the felt. It was a missed opportunity. We got to stop making so many final tables, Rob, so we can free up some time.
We had four between us, and
Sean, what are you doing, Sean?
That's awesome.
What are you doing?
I am going to go to Tunica at least one, maybe 2 days this week.
Yes.
And I'm going to sit at the table, have fun playing cards, and I am going to make a resolution for this week only that I will only tell stories about bananas and shrimp.
Natural pairing. That's actually my favorite dessert.
Dude, can you?
I mean, if you want some interesting stories, come on out, get on the table. You cannot lose,
dude.
It's impossible.
Can you record this shit? I feel
we are recording this.
We are.
I'm not coming to Memphis to listen about bananas and shrimp, but I need you to record this shit. It's good because I have to be a part of this, and the only way I'm gonna be a part of this is you got to turn the camera on. I need for you to record all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Live.
Need a full report.
Live stream from Tunica.
Live stream from your not socials.
Right. Because all I
there's zero chance that Sean's going to ever live stream.
Minus 20.
Right. I thought the guy was like, I'm going to fire up the wood chipper this weekend. You know what I mean? It's good to see you.
Jump in, kids. Jump in.
Don't worry about that grinding
Bananas
sound.
and shrimp. I love it.
Bananas and shrimp.
Well, we know we'll be able to have I know we're gonna have a good funniest thing you heard at the poker table next week segment. That's guaranteed.
Sounds like
thank you everybody again for coming out. Mika, we miss you. Hope you're having an awesome week with the mentorship program. I think it's Jim. I hope you had a fun time. Thank you for being the guinea pig for this week. It was fun having you on. Again, you guys can find Jim on Twitter at RecPokerJim. You can also head over to joinrec.poker. Check out the wonderful community there. It really has a lot of great people. And so behalf of Day and Venom, Brett, Craig, and Sean, that's it for us. We will see you guys next week.
Nice hat, Craig.
And Mika. I got you, Mika.
I'm going for mine. You put it on mine. You better believe they're looking for me. One time.